church music. I want them to play Bone Thugs and Harmony. See, I like y'all. And then I want her to rig it up so when they say I'm gonna miss everybody, I can start pointing at people out there in the audience. Yeah, she told me that was morbid as hell. So what y'all think? Y'all think it's about? All right. So y'all ready to keep the show rolling? All right. Coming from Winona, Mr. Andy Kirksmith. I will do a little bit better than that. Come on now. Come
Hey, keep it going for your host. All right. What's up, Rochester? My name is Andy, your resident saint for the evening. We'll find out about that, I guess. It's great to be here. I got a few friends here tonight. My friends Shane and Cassidy are here. They got married a few years back, and they asked me if I would get ordained and perform their wedding ceremony. So yes, I am an ordained minister, a man of the cloth. I really had no idea what the process was behind becoming an ordained minister. And so I just went online, I Googled how to become an ordained minister. And it took me to this website and it asked me to type in my information, my name, age, date of birth, address. And so I entered it all in. And then at the end it said, "Are you sure your information is entered correctly?" I said, "Yes." Said, "Congratulations, you're an ordained minister." I think it should be a little bit harder than that, honestly. But I wrote Shane and Cassidy a really nice wedding ceremony. And then at the end I said, "With the power given to me by the state of Minnesota and www.getordained.org." I'll pronounce your husband and wife. It is the actual website. So if we have any couples in the audience, I have these cards made up. They say Andy Kurtzman. On the back it's comedian, ordained minister. Yeah. I'm also an Eagle Scout. I was going to put comedian, ordained minister, Eagle Scout, but I just could not think of one useful purpose that would serve anybody. Sometimes after I get done writing my jokes, I'll text them to my friend Shane. And I can always tell how good they are based on his response. Like if Shane texts back and it just says, "Ha ha," I'll be like, "All right, maybe it wasn't that good." If he texts back and it says, "Ha ha ha," I'm like, "All right, maybe it has some potential." But if Shane texts back and it's like 5 or 6 ha's in a row, then I'll know that Shane is really stoned. The jokes are never that funny. Sorry, Shane. Weed is legal now in Minnesota, though. Yeah. Couple people. They're just a little slow, that's the problem. Not a lot has changed. Not a lot has changed since they legalized it. Like, we don't even have any stores in Minnesota, in Winona yet. I still have to buy my weed from the same sketchy drug dealer that I have been since high school. He's just gotten much less paranoid about the whole situation. Like, he doesn't even come inside anymore. He'll just leave it on the front step like a DoorDash, you know? So according to my drug dealer, it's still technically illegal for him to sell me weed, but he can gift it to me, and then I can give him a donation. So he'll pull up and he'll be like, "Hey man, here's your gift. Now you give me a donation, or I'll break your fucking legs." So yeah, no, a lot has changed. One of the nice things about weed is it's the same price that it has been for like 20 years since I've been in high school. It's gotten cheaper, if anything. Like, weed over the years has gradually gotten better and cheaper, while literally everything else in the world has gotten shittier and more expensive. Everything. Cars, houses, spouses, like, everything. I'm not married, so I can say that. Like, just last week, I spent $70 on a bag of dog food for my dogs, and I spent $30 on a bag of Alaskan Thunderfuck for me. So get it for the week. I do love my dogs. I got a couple of dogs, and every once in a while they'll really put that to the test. Like I was taking my dog Nesta for a walk recently, and he was taking a shit. Just put it bluntly, or he was trying to anyway. He was doing that thing where they do the poop squat and then they walk around that way for a while. Yeah, just be glad this isn't a dinner show. But I looked and there was a string hanging out of Nesta's little butthole. So yeah, I really weighed out my options at that point, and I just grabbed on. I started pulling, and it kept coming. And finally, it started getting a little bit tighter and came popping out of there like a cork out of a lemon. Yeah, it was equal parts disgusting and satisfying. Of course, Nesta's relieved and he takes off running, leaving me hanging on this dangling piece of dog shit covered stuffed animal that's paid $25 for on Amazon 2 weeks ago. So yeah, I definitely love my dogs. Yeah, I'm a single guy on that note. Yeah, thank you. I've been doing the dating apps, and like traditionally I haven't had a lot of luck with the dating apps. But after I got my dogs, I got too many golden doodles. And so naturally I put them in all of my dating profile pictures. And my matches, they went up 300%. They did. They went from 1 to 3. Still, I crunched the numbers, 300%. Online dating has become like so confusing lately. Like, there's all these different types of relationships. Like, I matched with this girl on the apps, and her profile said she was in an E&M relationship. And if you guys aren't familiar, I didn't know what that meant, so I had to look it up. And it stands for ethical non-monogamous. So non-monogamous meaning she's married, but she also sleeps with other people. And ethical is a word they put in front to make themselves feel better about it. I'm not here to judge. I'm a saint. I mean, to each their own. I guess I'm just looking for a more traditional relationship where we could just cheat on their husband behind his back. Make me feel much more comfortable about things. I did match with one girl on the apps, and we ended up going on a couple dates, and things were going well. We were on our second or third date, and we ended up back at my house. And I have one of those sleep number beds where you can adjust the setting of your mattress. Yeah, it's fancy. And so we were laying there, and things were getting kind of hot and heavy. Just kind of hot and kind of heavy. Out of the blue, she asks me, she's like, "So what's your number?" Now I know now she's trying to figure out how many people I slept with. Yeah. What's your number? But I don't know, it was the heat of the moment. I wasn't thinking clearly. I thought she was asking me about my mattress. So I said, I don't know, 55, 60, like it nice and firm. Talk about killing the mood on that one. Let's go back to Shane and Cassidy over here. We went to Jamaica a few years back together, and it was a great time. We went with a bunch of friends, a big group of people. And we went to this party, and there were 2 fire jugglers at this party. And one of them was like a real smooth, controlled fire juggler. And the other guy looked like he just learned that fire juggling was on the schedule for the night. Like, he was bad. And he just kept like accidentally throwing his fire towards the crowd. And you could tell which one was which because one of them had like a crowd gathered around him, and the other one had a radius. It's pretty bad. Every time he threw his fire torch and it went out, he would relight it with a joint that he had hanging out of his mouth. So that part was actually pretty impressive. It just got me thinking, like, wouldn't you perfect juggling before you try fire juggling? You know, like, just work on the juggling part before you add the fire into the mix. I don't know, that's just me. Yeah, just. Oh, when I was a little kid, I have a brother, Jack, and when we were little kids, we used to love to go grocery shopping with my mom. And we would always, one of our favorite things to do would be to pick out new breakfast cereal. I always get excited to pick out cereal. And then we would get home, and it would be time for breakfast, and my dad would step in, and he would be like, whoa, 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 hold up. You can't open the new cereal until the old cereal is gone. Yeah, I feel like the parents and was just like shaking their head like, yeah, so what? Go on. So we used to call my dad the serial killer. Yeah. Well, my dad called me a couple weeks ago, and he's like, hey, Andy, I need to hook up and get some weed from you. And so I was like, all right, yeah, for sure. I said, I still have some of the same stuff you got from last time. And my dad said, yeah, she'd already answered me. And I said, well, Dad, he said, well, if that's the case, I'll just wait until you get some new stuff. And I was like, Dad, I can't get new stuff until the old stuff is gone. A bunch of half bags of weed laying around, you know what I mean? Call me the weed killer. Scott Turf Builder Plus. When I was a little kid, if I would really piss my mom off, if I would make her angry, and I knew she was real mad at me, I would try and smooth things over, and I would say, I'm sorry, Mom, I love you. And this is what she would say back to me, and she would say, I love you too, I just don't like you very much right now. Yeah, that's why I'm up here doing this right now. But I'm planning on telling them the same thing when I drop them off at the nursing home. Still love you guys, you're just not that pleasant to be around anymore. Maybe I should take that halo off. I'll leave you guys with this one, but the first time I came to do this room when it was the old Goonies Club, the host had a camera set up backstage, and he was doing free headshots for all the comics. And so I thought, sweet, I'll take advantage of this. And so I went back there, and he asked me, he said, have you done these before? I said, oh yeah, I know the drill. So I stood there, and I faced the camera, and I got my picture taken. And then I turned to the right, turned back to the left. Those are the ones that I had done before. He was really confused when I bent over and started coughing. And I looked, and there was a string hanging out of my asshole. All right, thank you guys. I'm Andy Kirkman. Enjoy the rest of the show.
You guys give Andy another round of applause. So you guys enjoying the show so